Melbourne Cup of 1999, big crowd hanging around. This year, as you would, just sit there and sun yourself and have another couple and then maybe wander away. Maybe you need to get out. And I can tell you the Hong Kong Jockey Club plate is now going to be run at 4:52. It's been put back a bit, so we might just make that on air in our telecast just before we go. But we're after correct weight for the 9th, which we'll get from Mr. Gleeson with his familiar double wave. For Maggie, correct weight is there. So Danny Malecki, dividends, please.
The winner, Gallopini, number 10, $7.80 and $2.60. 3 Bush Outlaw, $1.70, and 15 Sandwich Bay, $6.50. Trifecta, $700 and $11.90. The Quinella, $11.80, and the Exacta paid $39.40. So certainly the first and second were well in the market there. Tim Gossage, the winner, performing very creditably, but most unlucky the runner-up.
Certainly was a big tip around too for Gallopini. I was surprised that all the coat takers were saying that this was going to win today, but it just kept on drifting and drifting in the market and finished up at double each way odds. But Bush Outlaw certainly was the favourite. There were excuses for a couple in the race, but probably a good result for bookmakers all up. At the moment, not really any board set up. Maybe Depeche Mode might start favourite in this one, Peter Donegan.
It'll be a pretty hard one to find the winner of, Tim Gossage. The Hong Kong Jockey Club plate. Winners have been pretty hard to find, but we knew that before we got here today. It's always a tough day to find a winner.
Oh, it sure is, but it is a good race, the Hong Kong Jockey Club plate here. So
it is.
Looking forward to it.
I'll tell you what, the toppy, Brave Chief, is going to be running his last race today, win or lose, and he's at $12.20. As we take a look through the tote figures, Jennifer, please enlighten us.
Okay, I like number 2, Make a Scene. He's a much better horse on the firm track. He had no luck at Cranbourne at 2 starts ago, and then he was beaten by 5 lengths in the Coonji. Now he comes onto the firm track here. I think he's got a terrific chance. One to keep an eye on, particularly with the betting here, is number 13, Classic Surprise. Horse over from New Zealand, owned by some pretty astute judges, so I'd watch him. And number 6, Honourable Mention, I'll put him to 3rd.
Well, I've gone for Brave Chief, but I reckon Make a Scene's probably a good thing, not only because you've tipped it, but because I've tipped it second. And my second selections today have won 5 races. So it's probably a good thing. And with the weight of your expertise on it, well, I think it might just about win.
Yes, let's see if we can get the last one.
Okay, honourable mention, certainly popular amongst the experts as well. The last, as Tim said, put back to 4:52. The day is starting to wind down, but the party is only just beginning here at Flemington. We hope you can stay with us right through until the conclusion of Melbourne Cup Day 1999. We'll take a break and be back with you at fabulous Flemington, weird and wonderful Flemington, very shortly.
This is a 10 News Updates.
Hello again, Mal Walden. Coming up in our special Cup Day bulletin, live from Flemington, the thrilling win of Rogan Josh, the fashions, the glamour and the celebrities. We also look at how our troops marked Melbourne Cup Day in East Field.
Well, we've been telling you all day there are a lot of people here at Flemington for Foster's Melbourne Cup Day 1999. I can tell you now exactly how many of them there are. 104,028 people have turned up to this great racecourse, almost 3,500 more than last year's great crowd, and the best crowd at the Melbourne Cup since 1949, when a horse called Fox Army won the race, I think, from memory. What a wonderful day this has been. 104,028 people here at Flemington, and they've seen some terrific racing, and they've certainly seen some drama in the Foster's Melbourne Cup. And as Gallopini and Bush Outlaw stride to the line in replay, here's the presentation after the Pivot Superfect Sprint and the chairman of Pivot Limited, John Watson.
On behalf of Pivot's 40,000 farmer shareholders spread out across Australia.
Before we head back to the studio and Tim Webster, I've got a fella beside me who's reasonably happy at the moment. He just rode the winner of the Melbourne Cup. John Marshall, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I think reasonably is probably a little bit of a understatement.
I think I said that with tongue-in-cheek. Wonderful performance by both yourself, the horse, and of course the master Bart Cummings. And part of the spoils Jennifer is holding now, and it is the Worth Whip, which is such a tradition around this week. It's something you'll cherish for the rest of your life, no doubt.
Yes, I'm sure I will, certainly. You know, like the memories can never go away, and the mementos just make it even better.
There will be some hard luck stories out of the Melbourne Cup, there's no question about that, but all you have to do is look at that whip sitting up on your mantelpiece at home and say, well, I was there and I won it.
That's right, winners are grinners.
And that you had the horse in a beautiful spot too, and that is important to emphasise about John's ride, that there was a lot of trouble in the race, but you took the horse forward, you sat up in about third or fourth spot, he relaxed beautifully for you.
Yeah, I think that in hindsight, the wide barrier was probably a blessing because we did avoid that sort of trouble, which definitely made it, you know, easier for us and a little bit harder for the opposition. Could you hear Jimmy Cassidy calling out behind you here? I certainly could. In fact, he was calling out a lot further back, and he actually got my horse a little bit fired up sooner than I wanted to. So, yeah, I was a little bit annoyed at him roaring too early.
Great job, John.
Yeah.
Well done. And
well done, John.
enjoy this beautiful trophy,
Thank you very much. Thank
there you go. There it is, the Worth Whip to the winning jockey in the Foster's Melbourne Cup of 1999. John Marshall, again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
John Marshall, who rode the winner, Tim, Rogan Josh, in the Foster's Melbourne Cup.
Yes, Peter, and rode him beautifully too. And the big crowd remains. Melbourne Cup of 99. And we think you probably might like to see all of the horses in the field of the Melbourne Cup. See where they finished. There's the three place getters. Rogan Josh, Central Park, Zazabel, Lahar, Travel Mate, The Warrior, down to Ivana's Pace there. And we've got another page of them just so you can get an idea where your horse finished. Tie the Knot and Sky Heights, well, it really wasn't their Melbourne Cup, wasn't destined to be. And as we told you earlier, final place getter was Rebor. All right, now in a crowd of 104,000 plus, finding the strapper of the winning horse would have been a tough task, but if anybody can do it, Tim Bailey can.
Fair. Doc Watson, this must be a magnificent moment for you, the strapper.
Very good moment. Best one in race.
Now, what is the story here? You spend more time with this horse outside the glamour of the Melbourne Cup. You do the hard work.
Oh, yeah. I'll pick up after me, mate, sorry. On the one who shovels crap.
Yeah, so how close is your relationship with the horse?
Oh, you're pretty close to them. They become part of your family, virtually. You remember them all the time.
And how was your heart when he hit the front?
I was just waiting for him to hit the front. I wasn't worried about the heart.
There's something about your boss, isn't there? He's
Oh, he's an absolute freak.
he is. Now, does this mean you still got to shovel the crap, as you said, tomorrow morning?
Definitely.
Enjoy the moment, Doc.
3 o'clock tomorrow morning on there.
Congratulations,
Thanks,
mate.
Thank you, Timothy. Yes, from the champagne and the roses and the glamour and the 104,000 people back in the box and shoveling that stuff out of the straw. Fashion's on the field now. Here's Lynn Talbot.
Well, I've just made my way through a sea of racegoers wearing madcapped outfits to the Fashions on the Field enclosure. And the ladies who have entered the Maya Fashions on the Field today look absolutely stunning. They are wearing from top to toe beautifully coordinated outfits. They're the best I've ever seen. Today's panel of judges included leading Chinese model and film star Zhu Ying, Beauty and the Beast's Ita Buttrose, and flamboyant Peter Jansen, not to mention musical queen Rhonda Birchmore. And I guess you want to meet the winner, and I've got an elated Trudy Cook here. Well done, are you happy?
Thank you, Lynn, absolutely. I've entered this this particular Fashions on the Field for probably the last 4 years and haven't come anywhere, so it's a real thrill.
Today is your lucky day, and do you know your prize?
Not accurately, no. I believe it's something from Hotel Sofitel Melbourne and Cairns. And
you're going
I'm not
to
sure what
Cairns,
else.
and you've also got a $1,000 spending voucher at Maya,
fantastic.
so you can go shopping.
Fantastic.
And you've also got a beautiful Magnum of Sullinger champagne.
Oh,
now, you're
great.
going to describe the outfit for it. It is
Okay,
beautiful.
thank you very much. It's actually a Polish suit that I'm wearing by the brand called A Priori. It's actually a Polish brand. And matching handbags and shoes and gloves, which is pretty much the trademark that we go for with Fashions on the Field.
And the hat is stunning.
Yeah, thank you. It's by Cupid's Millinery, which is actually my mother.
Oh,
so I still
clever.
have to call home and tell Mum. She might see this on the television before then.
Well, congratulations and
Thank
enjoy
you.
all your prizes.
Thank you,
and we'll
Lynn.
be bringing you more of Maya Fashions on the Field on Thursday, when the winner, the absolute overall winner, will take home a trip for two to Paris, a $10,000 wardrobe from Maya, a $5,000 spending money voucher, and their weight in Sullinger champagne.
Yes, well, there's nothing wrong with all of that. Thank you, Len. Still to come this afternoon, our Marquee race of the century, and of course the last race, race 10, the Hong Kong Jockey Club Plate. Stay there, we'll be back shortly. Yes, look at that. It just means so much to Australians, to anybody around the world these days, but an Aussie this year to win the Melbourne Cup, because the $1.8 million has got a fair amount to do with it. But winning the great race is really something very special. As Peter said, there's been a lot of conversations going on in the steward's room, and probably will be many more as the afternoon progresses. It was a roughhouse Melbourne Cup, but he's managed to find the connections of Rogan Josh. Pete.
Yes, Wendy and Bob Green are down here with me, and so too is this magnificent trophy. Wendy and Bob, congratulations. Did you ever think you'd have one of these sitting on your mantelpiece?
Never, ever, ever. We've got a little one we took home the other night with the barrier drawer on it, but not the big one.
You've got the real thing now.
Oh,
how were those 3.5 minutes, Bob? Did that seem like the longest 3.5 minutes of your life?
Oh, no, it didn't really. It just seemed unreal.
Yeah. And what about now? I mean, has it really hit you yet?
It won't hit me. I don't think until tomorrow, until I'm driving back to Darwin, until I'm sitting in the car with Robert and say, now, did we really win that cup?
Just read the papers tomorrow and watch all the replays. Speaking of Darwin, what's going on in Darwin today?
Well, I think everyone in Darwin, maybe 6 bookmakers have gone to the wall, I'm not sure. But I think everyone in Darwin would have had a bet.
And what about some school children in Darwin? What are they up to today?
They're not allowed to bet. But I think that maybe their parents may have had a little bet for them.
And you teach that class? Is that right?
I teach many classes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's Rogan Josh striding to the line now. And speaking of the name, all the kids are eating Rogan Josh today, is that right?
Oh, I think they might be.
Well,
yeah. I think the teachers will be. They were having a special function.
I'll tell you something now. You've got something reasonable for show and tell, haven't you?
I think it's called show and share now. They told me if I brought it back, I've got to share it.
Well,
yeah.
I'm sure that you'll probably share a drop of the bubbly with a lot of people around Flemington before you leave tonight. Enormous thrill, obviously. Bob and Wendy, thanks for joining us. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And enjoy the moment.
Yeah, we certainly will.
Good on you, Bob. Thanks, Wendy. And there it is, the Melbourne Cup. And you take that with you, because otherwise I won't...
I think I've got to drink champagne out of it now.
I'll let you go and do it. Thanks, Wendy. Tim, back to you.
Drink champagne out of it, and why wouldn't it? Yeah, thank you very much, Pete. Oh, there's a little quick shot of Sandra Sully there in the marquee, looking good, looking gorgeous as usual. We have to do the Marquee race of the century now, though. We're going to show you 1600th day of our carnival. I think Sandra Sully, at this late stage of the afternoon, has found one of the members of our star television program.
I have, yes, thank you. Tim, Rob Sitch has joined me, and he's been in the marquee all day, although he hasn't been divulging too many tips. Are you in front or behind?
I'm now a registered charity because I gave my money to a bookmaker, and he said, he looked at it, he went, Behemoth, and he went, right, you can get a tax deduction on Behemoth.
Did you tell Johnny Leds?
No, I didn't. But Behemoth is now in the 9th race. It's so slow.
How do you find Cup Carnival Week? You're a Melbourne boy. Do you come out every year?
Yeah, I love it. In fact, people say, isn't it great? And I go, well, 10 or 15 years ago, it wasn't like this, so I can't remember it. I mean, the number of marquees here, I think there are more people coming and less people seeing the Cup. I think I've seen a chain wire fence and the inside of a glass so far.
Well, listen, thanks for joining us today. I know you're going to come out to Oaks Day and Stakes Day. Well, we're hoping you are.
Yes. Well, I'm following you around, Sandra, so wherever you go, I'm there.
Yeah, well, if we could just arrange something at around 10:30.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Gotta go. Good luck. Thanks for joining us.
I'm there. I'm still here.
Back to you, Tim. Save me.
Can I tell you something? Yeah. The queue behind you, Sandra, as you know, is a very, very long one, and Sitch is going to have to go round to the back end of the queue.
You've made my day, thanks.
Good on you. Okay. We've got one to go. It's the Hong Kong Jockey Club Plate. Here are Peter Donegan and Sandra Sully. Jenny Chapman.